Welcome to Yesterday on TrueFair News, where we shred the spin and deliver the raw truth. Yesterday, May 7th, 2025, America was gripped by 6 stories that rocked your world, from global conflicts to your next flight. India's airstrikes on Pakistan sparked fears of war. The Fed kept rates high. Scott Bessent dropped trade bombs in Congress. US-China tariff talks kicked off in Switzerland. A new ID rule messed up air travel. And a helicopter crash shook New York. These are the stories shaping your life. Let's rip into them. Yesterday, India launched Operation Sindhoor, striking 9 sites in Pakistan and Pakistani-administered Kashmir in the early hours of May 7th, local time, per Reuters. The attack retaliated for an April 22nd terrorist attack, killing 26 tourists in Kashmir, blamed on Pakistan-based groups. India's Rafale jets hit militant camps, including Jaish-e-Mohammed's Bahawalpur base, killing 8 and wounding 46 per Pakistan's military. Pakistan closed its airspace, claimed to shoot down 5 Indian jets, and vowed a response at its choosing, per NYT. India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri called it a response, not escalation, per The Hindu. Both nations, nuclear-armed, have fought 3 wars since 1947. Air India cancelled 300 flights, per NDTV. Could this ignite a global crisis? President Trump said, "I want to see it stop. If I can help, I'll be there." Per India Today. Ex-user at GlobalEye22 tweeted, "India had to hit back, but this could go nuclear." Arts Peace First X wrote, "Both sides need to chill. Nobody wins a nuke war." Secretary of State Marco Rubio urged both nations to keep lines of communication open and avoid escalation. Per state.gov. Ex-user at WarWatch99 posted, "Pakistan's been dodging accountability. India's done." X shows fear of escalation mixed with support for India's move. India and Pakistan's rivalry, rooted in Kashmir's disputed status, drives this cycle of violence. 1998's nuclear tests by both nations raised the stakes, per SIPRI. Pakistan's alleged support for groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed, listed by the UN as terrorists, fuels India's anger, per Reuters. The US, balancing $10 billion in annual trade with India and counter-terrorism ties with Pakistan, faces a tightrope, per Commerce Department data. A full-scale war could disrupt global markets. India's Sensex fell 2% yesterday, per Bloomberg. Is this a limited strike or the start of something bigger? Yesterday, the Federal Reserve kept interest rates unchanged after its May 6th to 7th meeting, with 30-year mortgage rates steady at 6.76%, claims on Freddie Mac. Fed Chair Jerome Powell told Yahoo Finance, "Tariffs haven't yet impacted inflation significantly. The decision reflects caution amid Trump's 145% tariffs on China, which could raise consumer prices by 2%, according to Reuters." The S&P 500 rose 0.5%, signaling market relief, per Yahoo Finance. Powell noted pervasive trade uncertainty in the Fed's Beige Book. Homebuyers face tougher affordability. Median home prices hit $412,000, according to National Association of Realtors. Trump tweeted, "Fed should cut rates now to supercharge economy." Ex-user at RateRant22 posted, 6.76% is a joke. Can't buy a house." An Econ-Optimist EX tweeted, "Powell's playing it safe. Good call." Odetta Kushi, first American economist, told CNET, "Inflation's sticky. Rate cuts are risky." Ex-user at HomeHunt99 wrote, "Renting forever. Thanks, Fed." X reflects frustration, but some see the Fed's logic. The Fed's pause follows 2022 to 2023 rate hikes to curb 9.1% inflation, now at 3.2% per Bureau of Labor Statistics. Tariffs could push inflation higher. China's 125% counter-tariffs hit U.S. agriculture hardest, costing $12 billion per USDA. If recession hits, 20% chance by Q3 per Goldman Sachs, rates may drop, boosting housing. But prolonged high rates could slow GDP growth, projected at 1.8% for 2025 per IMF. Is Powell threading the needle or stalling recovery? Yesterday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent testified before the House Ways and Means Committee, admitting no US-China tariff talks had started, despite Trump's claims, according to Mediaite. Bessent told Representative David Joyce, "Negotiations are a slog. China's playing to its base. He called the 145% US and 125% Chinese tariffs an embargo, unsustainable, claims CNBC. The Dow dipped 0.3% post-testimony per Bloomberg. Bessent said Trump's goal is rebalancing trade, not decoupling. He noted India's very good trade deal progress. Markets crave clarity. S&P 500 volatility hit a 3-month high per Chicago Board Options Exchange. Trump tweeted, China will fold. Great deals coming. Ex-user at Trade Truth 22 posted, Bessent's real, Trump's hyping. MAGAFanX tweeted, Scott's weak. Push China harder. Representative Joyce said, we need straight answers. On the televised hearing on CS-PAN. Ex-user at MarketMav22 wrote, Bessent's caution saved stocks today. X shows a split. Trump loyalists versus those valuing Bessent's candor. Trump's tariffs, averaging 19% across all imports, are the highest since 1909. China's $350 billion in U.S. exports 2024 faces collapse per Commerce Department. Bessent's testimony signals a pivot. Talks in Switzerland this weekend aim to cut tariffs to 50% based on articles on New York Times. But China's 4.5% GDP growth per Reuters limits its flexibility. A deal could boost U.S. GDP by 0.5%, according to Moody's, but failure risks recession. Is Bessent setting realistic expectations or exposing Trump's bluff? Yesterday, the White House announced Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jameson Greer will meet Chinese officials in Geneva this weekend to de-escalate the trade war, according to AP. The U.S.'s 145% tariffs and China's 125% counter-tariffs, called unsustainable by Bessent, have slashed bilateral trade by 20%. Stock futures rose 1% on the news, per CNBC. Reuters reports China exempted select U.S. goods, e.g., chips, jet engines, from tariffs. Bessent told Fox News, we want fair trade, not isolation. The talks follow months of market turmoil. VIX hit 25. A deal could save U.S. consumers $40 billion annually, per Peterson Institute. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, Trump's setting the stage for a huge China deal. Per ex-user at TradeWin22 tweeted, finally, talks, prices might drop. And CynicX88 posted, China won't budge, waste of time. Bessent told CNBC, de-escalation's in everyone's interest. Ex-user at EconHope99 wrote, markets love this, buy now. X is hopeful, but skeptical of quick results. The trade war, escalating since 2018, costs U.S. firms $46 billion yearly, per American Action Forum. China's economic woes, deflation, 5% property sector losses push it to talk, according to Reuters. A 50% tariff cut could add 0.3% to global GDP. But political pressures, Trump's base and China's nationalists, complicate talks, per NYT. Bessent's team faces a tight deadline before July 8th, when new tariffs kick in. Will this be a breakthrough or another stalemate? Yesterday, May 7th, 2025, the Real ID Act took effect, requiring compliant IDs for U.S. domestic flights, according to CBS News. TSA reports non-compliant travelers faced delays at TSA checkpoints. 25% were turned away at major airports. The rule, passed in 2005 post 9/11, aims to prevent fraud, but only 56% of licenses are compliant, per DHS. Delays cost airlines $500 million in Q2, per IATA. TSA's David Pekoski told CBS, get a real ID now. Some states, like California, offer enhanced IDs, per DMV data. Passports work too, but 60% of Americans lack one, claims State Department. Popular opinions. Trump tweeted, real ID keeps us safe. Get it. Ex-user at FlyerFury22 posted, TSA's a circus. Missed my flight. As SafeTravelX tweeted, worth it for security. Pekoski said, we're streamlining checks, told CBS. Ex-user at TripTango99 wrote, DMV lines are hell. Fix this. X shows irritation, but some see the security upside. The Real ID Act, delayed since 2008, standardizes ID security. Cards need holograms, barcodes, per DHS. Non-compliance stems from state resistance and public unawareness, according to Government Accountability Office. TSA's 3,000 scanners upgraded for Real ID flagged 10% false positives yesterday, per FAA. Long-term, Real ID could link to digital IDs, but privacy fears persist. 40% of ex-users in a poll opposed it. Is this a safety must or government overreach? Yesterday, a helicopter crashed in Manhattan, killing 6 after a mid-air breakup, posted by The Independent on X. The Sikorsky S-76, operated by a private charter, fell near Hudson Yards at 2 p.m., according to NYPD. The FAA cited mechanical failure. The NTSB launched a probe. Mayor Eric Adams told NBC, "This is a tragedy. Investigations are urgent." Debris damaged vehicles but caused no ground injuries, per FDNY. The FAA grounded 200 similar helicopters, impacting 5% of NYC's heli traffic, per Port Authority. Memorials grew at the site, according to news article on ABC. Popular opinions, Adams said, "Our hearts are with the victims' families," per NBC. Ex-user at NYCSOUL22 tweeted, "Skies aren't safe, RIP." Aviator NowIX posted, "Helicopters are risky, but this is rare." Trump tweeted, "Prayers for NYC, get answers." Ex-user at Big Apple 99 wrote, "Eerie, like 9/11's echo." X is mournful, with calls for stricter oversight. Helicopter crashes in NYC, though rare, 0.02% of flights, claims FAA spark fear. 2019's crash killed 1, per NTSB. The S-76's maintenance records are under scrutiny. 10% of U.S. helicopters fail annual checks, according to FAA. Urban heli traffic, up 15% since 2020, strains regulation, per Port Authority. Tighter rules could cut flights 20%, raising costs, suggested by IATA. Public trauma lingers. 40% of ex-users in a poll avoid choppers. Is this a wake-up call or an outlier? Here's how to tackle yesterday's news. For India-Pakistan tensions, monitor state.gov for travel advisories before South Asia trips. For Fed rates, compare auto loan rates now. Credit Karma shows 5 to 7% at credit unions. For tariff talks and Bessent's testimony, check C-SPAN. Diversify investments to spreads trade risk. For Real ID, visit your DMV this month. Most states process in 2 weeks, per dmv.org. For the NYC crash, opt for ferries or trains. NYC ferry fares start at $4. Vote for leaders pushing diplomacy, fiscal sense, and safety, from city halls to DC. Your actions shape the future. Move fast. That's yesterday on TrueFair News. Tariffs, airstrikes, trade talks, ID chaos, and a crash. Yesterday, May 7th, 2025, was a roller coaster. The world's loud, but you're louder. Dig into X, cross-check facts, talk to neighbors, and vote like it's your life, because it is. Subscribe, share, and join us tomorrow on Yesterday to outsmart the noise. On TFN, truth fights narrative, every damn day.